What up, what up? Please give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and hit the subscribe button. Before I get started, I want to introduce my roommate's dog, Milo. I'm back at it again talking about insecure and male culture. So in this episode, Lowkey Losing It, directed by Nijla Moomin, we see Derek and Lawrence and baby Simone in the nursery. And this scene is a really beautiful, tender, special moment. My heart felt so warm seeing this scene. However, there's also other stuff going on, dialogue-wise. So we hear Derek admit to some of the things that he's done in the past, and all of his sins sort of like flash before his eyes, and he talks about how all of the women that he's done wrong and all of the women that men at large have done wrong are somebody else's daughters. And he's having that moment of like, I'm a father, and what men do to women and girls' daughters is not right. And it's funny what he's saying, but the other side of what he's saying is him not only realizing but acknowledging, the damage that men do. I read a lot of black women, I read a lot of black feminism, and they've been saying this from the beginning of time, that a lot of men only realize that they're human beings when they have a daughter of their own. And I don't even know that he realized that women were human beings, right? Because he talked about women being somebody else's daughters. So predicating their worth on their fathers, essentially. They are someone else's daughters. Someone else like me. Like, I'm a father now, and all of the women that I've done wrong, they had fathers too. But you can see right away how there's something wrong with that. And it just kind of reminded me that a lot of men are aware of patriarchy and are aware of the behaviors that other men participate in. But, they're kind of mostly okay with it. Whatever. It benefits them. Until they have this, come to Jesus moment, which is really baseless and insincere. Yeah, it's based on a found morality in the hopes that, some future man won't do to my daughter or to my sister or to my mother what I have been doing, what I continue to do to women. And not because you believe that and nobody should do these things, but because now it can affect you and your ego and your personhood and people that you care about. And I like to think that scene was really, really spot on. I've heard many men over my life say iterations of this when they have daughters, or some men not wanting daughters for this very reason, because men are terrible to women. There was also the assumed heterosexuality that baby Simone would be with a man. I think this show gives us a lot to talk about when it comes to male culture and these conversations, which are really important to have so that the next generation of men are not repeating our same mistakes. And even to put a stop to the men that are still living, put a stop to their reign of terror, if you will. Yeah, women's humanity shouldn't be based on the fact that they have a father or a brother or a boyfriend or a husband. Yeah, they deserve to have autonomy and peace. And yeah. Next, I want to talk about Andrew and Molly. Okay, let's get into it. So what I did like about Andrew's behavior with Molly was that he adjusted to whatever energy Molly was giving. And I love that so much because that's kind of how I am. That's how I come into talking to people. That's how I come into relationships. I come in with a positive energy and a positive vibe and a very sort of open vibe. But if you're not matching that, I just kind of learned to maneuver and to kind of put in what you put in and do what you do, essentially. And I think that's a really great way to go about a lot of different relationships. Molly kept putting her work responsibilities and her job above Andrew. We saw her do it 3 times in this episode. Who knows how many other times she's done it too. And it just kind of started to look like, oh yeah, work is always kind of gonna get in the way. And he might have been upset about that at first, but instead of being passive aggressive, he just decided to kind of go with the punches. Okay, I know whenever we link up, Molly usually has work after this, or things change at the drop of a hat. So it might be our night on Wednesday nights, but she's already canceled on me. So I'm gonna also make plans too. So we're supposed to have dinner at 7. I'm gonna link up with my boys at 10 or 11. And I thought that was very mature, though it seems like people in this show avoid conversations as much as possible. So I think adjusting along with a conversation would be best, but okay, whatever, right? What I would say is that there were certainly a couple of instances in this episode and prior to this episode where it is clear that Molly doesn't quite see Andrew as a human being, as an autonomous human being. I don't think that she sees any men in that way. she doesn't see him as someone who has his own feelings and his own life and his own goals and ideas and ambitions. And that is a huge red flag for me, and that would make me pump the brakes immediately. However, for other people, I can understand why maybe they didn't pick up on that, or this is a beautiful woman and she's nice, so like, let me just see where this goes. I can totally get that. But I definitely think that being aware of these things, of how people treat you and speak about you and talk to you, is very important for men. We are not taught to look at these signs and to address them in an effective way. At the end of the episode, when Molly and Andrew do have that sort of conversation where it's like, well, yeah, you keep putting work above me. And she was like, well, I didn't do it tonight. I'm right here, right now for you. So drop your plans and like hang out with me tonight. Oh, Molly. It also comes out that Molly hasn't been with someone long enough for her to actually adjust her own schedule and adjust her own life to be complementary to someone else's. And for me, that is another red flag. I'm not one to look at people in absolutes, like all good or all bad. And I really am hesitant to base someone's past relationships on what will happen to you now, but I am one to be very observant. So her saying that would have made me slow down a bit too and realize that this is going to be difficult for her, and though she likes him and though she's willing, that might not be enough. And the way we see that the conversation ending is them having sex. Yeah, I don't know about that one, buddy. I just think that it might be sending the wrong messages and setting a precedent that Molly will always be able to get her way in this relationship. As we know of the character Molly, she is very spoiled and very entitled. I think they just got to get better at communicating, really. And in addition to communicating, behavior too. You got to see if Molly's behavior actually changes. Me personally, I would run away from a Molly. I see her as sort of like a spoiled brat and very self-centered. Those qualities are not attractive to me. And I mean, everybody is different, but yeah, I would be running for the hills. Okay, well, that's the video. And that's me talking about insecure and critiquing male culture for this week. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.